All right, so I'm in Premiere right now, and I want to create a scene with a background and maybe a GIF, uh, a JPEG, or really anything. And I want that thing to move across the screen. Um, so I'm gonna like get rid of everything here and make a new scene and kind of go through the process um, each at a time. So let's see. I want to do new. I want to do new project. I'm just going to create this. Replace. All right, so I got my whole scene here. I want to import my media, and I'm not going to do any of y'all's. So let's see. I know I want a illustrated background. So let's go into some illustrations maybe. Is there something I want to use? Let's do this 2-point perspective. That's a good one. Plus I like squares anyway. And I want a, let's get some like a character in there. I don't know. Let's see. What's a good one? Let's not do the slime John. Let's use, actually, we're just going to do the slime guy. All right. So I have my JPEG in the scene, and I kind of want to change the size of it. So since I have a JPEG here, it's in my timeline, kind of like we did in Photoshop, and I want to extend it a little bit more. I'm just going to extend it to a minute. It's probably not going to be that long, but I want to extend this a little bit. So I can just like hover and click and extend it, and I am using my selection tool. So now it's in my timeline, and it's not animated, so nothing's happening. But I want to put something that's animated in. I could use a JPEG, or I could use like a GIF if I wanted some more animation involved with it. Actually, I want to use a JPEG for right now, and there's a reason for that. Let's see, what can I use? Let's use this. And I'm going to click and drag this on top of it. If your file is super big, you're going to have to change the size of it. So let's make this 2 size to the same like a timeline width. And I want to move this character down a little bit, maybe right here, and maybe change the size. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Put it on this block. But let's see right here, effects controls. I could just click on it. I can just click on it. Let's see right here, it's playing right now, and kind of change it like this, up and down, or in my control panel, in the effects controls, I could scale it in here to any size. So let's put like 50, but usually I just like to click and drag everything, but there's 2 ways to do this. And just like before, this is like really simple. So we have what we should know. We have all these stopwatches and everything, and we have like scale, we have position, we have rotation, we have like an anchor point. And when we click the stopwatch, it's going to make a keyframe, kind of like what we did with the filters, with the pixelation. It's the same exact thing. So let's move a little bit into the timeline. And then I'm going to click the position. We could change the scale, but let's just use the position for now. And we can see over here that it made a little keyframe. Does everyone see that It made one little keyframe, and then we can go over, and there's a little button right here, and we can click that. Let's see. All right. We can click it again. So we're making keyframes. Let's make a few right now. And I'm clicking this little icon right here. And now I want to go back and I want to click on this keyframe and click on my character. And I want to move my character in a different section. And we can see this little line that appears. That's when we know we're doing it right. So let's go back. And we can see that there's like a little bit of motion right here. You can do this with like anything. It doesn't have to be a JPEG. The only thing why I didn't use the slime character, because the slime character has a certain amount of like keyframes and it has a certain amount of section. So like if I wanted to make it a minute long, and we'll get into that in a second. Maybe I'll show you my hesitation. But I want to kind of go to each keyframe, click on it, maybe move my character over here. This keyframe, move it a little bit, see if that looks good. Here. I kind of want to just move it all the way around. Let's hope this works. No. So what did I do wrong? Over here. That. Move it over. Let's see. And my video's too long. Okay. So it's pretty simple. We can the closer the keyframes are, the faster it's going to be. So let's go, yeah. So let's change that movement a little bit. Add a keyframe. But that's okay. This you could do this however you want. I really just want to show how to put movements into it. Let's put another keyframe here. Does this part kind of make sense? We're kind of doing what we did before with the pixelation, but with that process, it kind of does it for you. This one you kind of have to like manually. At least that's how I've done it in the past. So let's do this over here. Slow start. It slowly moves and goes back. You know what? Let's make this character kind of twirl in space a little bit. So I want to make a keyframe here, and then I'm going to put the rotation, which makes another keyframe. And then let's just put 360. Let's see right here. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but there's something. Oh, let's put a few more keyframes so it's all the way around. And this another one. So it's back in place. And let's see what this looks like right now. Slowly moves. And you could mess with this a little bit better, less slow. You can tell that we can fiddle with this a little bit more. With the GIF, we run into a different issue. So if you want to use a GIF, we can tell we have a finite. Let's change the size. Let's do 200. Let's do 500. Now I can actually make it a little bit bigger. So we can see this is, it's a little bit shorter of a clip right here. And yeah, we can do the same thing. We can change the speed of it, but we can stretch it out. So we have the ripple edit tool right here. We have the slip tool. We're going to right click this. The computer wants to work with me. Why isn't it working? Let's see here. Is it working for this? Because that's a JPEG. That is okay. For some reason, I can't right click. Let's see. I'm gonna have to close it off and open it back up. But there's a way to extend this clip, but it would make it slower. So the one thing you could do is just make this a longer file, or we could just copy and paste this over and over again, just to add more of the same thing. And what we could do, actually, let's go back. Control Z. So I want to make this move just a little bit. So the same thing we're going to do. Make sure this is clicked. We have everything here. We want the position to change. Let's go make a keyframe. Click the position. It makes your first keyframe. We're going to move it just a little bit here. Make another keyframe. There we go. Okay. I'm going to delete this one. There we go. And it's either we make this file longer, or we can, let's see. I would make the file longer, because if we copy and paste it, it's just going to be the same click over again. Maybe we could, no, I would make it a longer clip, honestly, which we can do in Photoshop, or we can just make a new project, create. If we know we're going to use this character, now where is it? Because I'm in illustration, let's go to video. It's the smaller one. If I'm just messing with GIFs and I want to make them longer, we can do that in Photoshop, or let's see, let's bring this character in. I would just copy and paste. It's all pixelated because it's a small file. If I know this is going to be a minute-long clip, I'll just export this character a minute long. There's probably a better way to do that, but if you're working with smaller files to bigger, you might as well just do it this way, just so it's the whole minute. And then just export it as a the MPEG file. Or MP4. It's the format, the H.264. MP4, let's see here. Let's stick with that. It should be fast. It'll probably be slower for you. And then I'll just use that clip. And for some of the final, let's try to put some sort of, we've been using some animation. We already have these assets, and we could see right here, it's just putting some keyframes down and it's moving the character just a little bit, and you should have some motion. And we can fix the speed of the keyframe. So if you have one keyframe that's here, and then it takes a long time for the character to move, it's going to go slower. So like the closer the keyframes are at, the closer the time frame is going to be. Does that make sense? You're just going to have to do it and try it out and see what problems you run into for that section.